Coach, I'm sure it's not hard to get a team excited to play a game like this, but what's the energy like been in practice this week?
It's been great. Yeah, you guys are excited. Worked hard. Really dug in on the things we've pinpointed from last week that we want to be better at. And at the same time, focused in on what we got to do to win this game. And a really good opponent, obviously coming in here, and an opportunity to get into our second game, their third. But I like the steps, and the process that I've seen from these guys, and that's what I challenged them to do. This is a week we have to compete in every single aspect of our game prep, our practice habits, our nutrition, obviously with the temperatures here, our hydration and sleep. And so it's been a great week to see the resolve.
When you have bigger games against 15 squad, that's something where the seeds get planted in high school, like this is a reason to come to NC State?
I think so. I think most of these guys grew up, even in their backyard as kids, thinking about playing in big games against, opponents that are ranked and on national television. I mean, if they didn't, then we probably recruited the wrong guys, I mean, even in the front yard, in the front driveway playing basketball, 3 seconds, game-winning shot, and those are guys you want to recruit, the guys that are always thinking about playing in huge games, huge moments. And so, yeah, there's an element of that. I think this is the first top 10 matchup we've had at noon in the stadium since I've been here. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it is. Most of them have been at night. So, getting into the stadium, as you know, with our fan base, you're going to have to get here early. There's going to be a long line to get in, and we want everybody in there for the entrance and obviously for the first quarter. So, just keep that in mind coming in here. It's going to be jam-packed getting into this game.
And I talked about explosives and how
Yeah.
didn't have as many last week as y'all would have wanted. Is there a specific number that you're aiming for each game, or how do you approach that?
Yeah, I mean, for him, it's 9 a game. I think some of that depends on the number of plays, too. It's explosive. If you have 100 plays versus 70 plays, expectations should be a little bit different in those two scenarios. But on average, it's a 9 count that we're looking for in that category, and he calls them his pillars for victory. But, there's 5 things he's really trying to get week in and week out, and one of them is the explosive play number.
Last week was y'all's first time playing with the new clock rules and the running clock after first down. Going into week 2, are there any adjustments based on what you saw, just how the pace of play went last week?
I don't think you adjust. I just think you have to really know that those possessions are precious, right? And your opportunity to get the ball back, if you're in a tight game at the end, you're not going to see as many teams be able to come back in the fourth quarter down by 3 scores. So you have to know, in each half, as you get to that last 8 minutes of the second quarter and fourth quarter, kind of where you're at. You may be in 2-minute mode faster, in a game that you're down. It hasn't happened to us yet, but those are things, that we've discussed. Now, obviously, it does dictate some things when you're talking about less touches on offense.
So, Tony mentioned, knocking off some of the cobwebs a little bit, going from game 1 to game 2,
Yeah.
especially on defense. When you see that improvement from game 1 to game 2, what is it? Where do those improvements come from? What areas of the game?
It's different every year. In this game, obviously, we gave up a couple big runs, and so why did that happen? Guys got cut out of their gaps. So, gap integrity, what we call block destruction on defense, taking on a block, getting off a block. Those 2 things need to be better. So those are 2 areas that we would say we were successful in if we do that after this week. Offensively, there's a ton of things on both sides of the football, right? But offensively, we missed a couple opportunities to stay on the field, whether it was a ball location for Brennan or a catch for a perimeter player. So, all the little things that you didn't like, you want to see those, and then you'll come out of game 2 with new little things, right? And each week it's something that you want to focus in on with the guys.
Was the Hurricane game against Notre Dame one of those moments where you'll even be telling your grandchildren?
Yeah, that conversation comes up every now and then. It's like the story you got when you were a kid. Grandpa walked uphill, and in the wintertime to work and all that stuff, and people were like, oh, we got to play in the rain. I'm like, rain? Shoot, we played in a hurricane, man. Like, the water was up to our calves, It was. But, people don't believe that. Like, that game there was like a waterfall coming down the stairways in the stadium, So, yeah, it's one of those stories that, that's what football is about. It's making memories, and sometimes they're good ones, sometimes they're not. That's obviously going to be a great memory. it's one of the things we showed the pump block team this week. You know, we showed them that play. I showed them a pump block for a touchdown that we've had against this team, and so those are memories that last, you know, with the program.
When you think about the significance of each possession, considering the new clock rules, how important are your specialists?
Yeah, field position's a big deal, and special teams really is what that is. It's about creating a short field for your offense, a long field for your defense to defend. And so your ability to punt the ball well, to cover kicks well, and tackle well, to make field goals when you have to kick them. All those things are critical, and they were critical before. But I just think, you know, each offensive team in the stadium is going to get 7 to 8 fewer touches in the game. And we all know the importance of one play in every game. You know, going back to the years of watching football, what if they didn't have enough time to run that one play, you know? And so you have to think about those things in the game.
You struck gold with Trent McGill. Is it pretty remarkable that you're able to do it again right away with Caden?
Yeah, Caden's done a great job. You know, no different than Trent, no different than AJ. He came in, had to develop, had to get in the weight room and work. He deserves the credit, you know, for how much better he's gotten. And I do think it helps when there's a standard of what we expect in that room. And you can point to it like, hey, if you come here and we see that you're going to be the guy, you're going to be on scholarship, right? If you come here and do what you're supposed to do, you could be like our previous 2 punters that are starters in the NFL. And so there's a roadmap for those guys in that room, and you know, I'm proud of them for continuing it, and look forward to seeing Caden. He's got a lot of football here in front of him.
Arsavion and Menden still on track.
Yeah, they both practiced, looked really good. They're both excited. It's going to be great to have them both in the lineup.
I know the correlation from Sam Hartman going from a mesh style to
Yeah.
more of a pro style at Notre Dame. And there are some things that you can't really translate, but what do you see does translate with his game at his new spot?
Well, you know, third downs when he's dropping back, that translates 2-minute drill. They did a great job in the last game, marching them down the field in a no-huddle offense. So you see his comfort level in those scenarios, which, you know, in that offense he was in before, he was spread out a lot and was throwing the football a lot. So that's where you see that's the guy we defended all the time. You know, when he's under center, handing off counter and things like that, it's different, you know. But you can see the game management stuff that he has and just how poised he is. And then when he scrambles, you can see his ability to continue moving the chains that way.